Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today, first of all, yes, it is a bit echoey, and it's because we're in the shower shed, because at the office at OC3D we didn't particularly need like a bath and everything or a shower, so I ended up repurposing the space so that I had kind of a shed sort of area, and we left the shower on the wall so that it was a homage to what it was, which is why it's called the shower shed. We've got all this kind of MDF that's painted all around the outside, and it just gives me a space to be able to come in and do the funky sort of stuff. But anyway, this is an update for the racing rig revival, and I did say that I was going to be using my white and red H440. Essentially, this is a bastardized, and that's not a swear word because that's technically what it, it's a word in the dictionary. So what I've done is I've taken a black and red H440 and a white and black H440, swapped some bits over, and ta-da, we have a white and red 440. The blue stuff on the outside, just for those of you that are wondering, it's just masking tape, and that's just to protect it. So this is going to get turned into my racing rig, and I did say that I had some ideas about stuff that I wanted to do. Now I've done some work on the inside, but first thing I will say is I've got the side panel on, but we're not actually going to be using this, which is what you'll see later on. So it's kind of interesting. So if I put this out of the way, we expose what's going on here. Okay, so what I've done is I've had this acrylic made up. Again, this blue is masking tape. The light blue that you can see is the protective coating. Underneath it's a matte white acrylic. So I've had these bits made up for down the side. So we've now, in case you've not seen the work that I've done on it before, I've removed all of the hard drive bays that are down here. And it kind of left me with I wanted this open space, but we did also have this gap down the back, which went right the way through. I do still have the grommet to go in here. It is in my pile of bits and bobs, but I do still have the grommet. Anyway, there it is. So here's our grommet, and this is obviously going back in. Anyway, right, so we've made this, but what we did have was a lot of holes which were mounts for the hard drives that were there. As you can see if I move the camera down. So what I've done is I've drilled those out, and then I've also put some holes into the acrylic so that I can put some of those red M3 bolts through. They go right the way to the top. Although these top two, here and here, they were rivets, but it was just a continuation of the theme. So I've drilled through those, taken the threads out because they were for little thumb screws. These square parts were actually locating holes for when you push the hard drive cages through, and these had threads on this side, and that would have been where you used thumb screws from the back. So I've drilled the threads out and we've put those in, and like I said, it's just to hold that bit of acrylic in place. It will just be matte white eventually, and it's just to kind of clean the lines up, and I kind of like that. You can also see that we do have red M3 nuts and bolts here. When it's all white, it'll all be nice. The other bit that I had to do, although the lines aren't brilliant, but anyway, as you can see, this is actually on an angle. It's like a 30-degree angle, I think. So it meant that having a straight bit of acrylic wouldn't have worked, because this actually, like I said, does come out. So this would have dropped down to the floor, so I've cut some of the steel out so that it actually does sit over the top. As we can see, it sits over the top of the acrylic. Again, the lines aren't like absolutely perfect. Again, it was done by hand, it was done with a Dremel. And also, we're still in the kind of like alpha stage where we're test fitting stuff and things like that. Straight side on though, like I said, we're getting rid of the side panel for the door, and I was a bit perplexed about what to do because I've got some acrylic over here. Now this does just have, it's clear 5mm thick acrylic. The white on it is just again a protective coating. But what I wanted to do is have a full side panel window. Now we did have some options with cutting the original window. We could have gone over here, but they've got a lip on the inside, and to have been able to have cut that lip off, it probably would have damaged the powder coat on this side, and I would have had to have used some C-strip or something, you know, like modded C-strip to cover up the edges, or repainted the side entirely. So with all of the kind of like tempered glass full window sides that are about at the moment, I wanted to have a full window on the side. Now my problem was I wanted to be able to remove it, and I was thinking to myself, do I bolt it on, you know, but if I have a bolt, if I can find a long bolt, have I got any long ones? I do. Right, so you have a nut and a bolt. Okay, so you have the thread on this side. So do I bolt it through this way, which means I have to have a nut on the other side, or did I put it out this way so I can put the nut on that side? And it was all it would have been very messy. So I came up with an idea. You can get this tool, which looks like a rivet gun, but it's actually called a Rivnut tool. And you can see me, I'm unscrewing this down here, but this is the rivet, and there's a thread in the middle. That is actually an M6. But you can get, my ones go right down to M3. Now if you look closely here, you can see that it's kind of sandwiched up already. So that's the rivet part of it. I'm just trying to find, I thought I had a big one. I do, here we go. Okay, so this would have been that big straight one that I just showed you, but you can see here that it's kind of mushroomed in. So this is the rivet part. Apart from, there is a thread in the middle, so you can put a bolt in. Now realising or remembering that I had said Rivnut tool, I got to work on the case. You can see I've got this one fitted here. This one's not fitting that flush because it's actually hitting the rivet here, but it's very much in there. And I've just got here just a normal M3 bolt. And there you go. We've got a thread. So this then meant that I've done all four. Skim you down here. Whee! You can see I've got another one there. Another one there. Another one there. So when we get back to this one, it meant that I've now got an easily boltable option for my acrylic. And there we have it. Said acrylic, all bolted on. The M3 nuts, they are, you know, good enough. They're obviously not that big, but I'm not planning on moving this around too much, so we shouldn't have any problems. And the acrylic isn't that heavy. If I was to change to glass, I don't know, we might run into problems. But the only real problem that we might have is, let me zoom back out again. The only real problem we might have would be we might need a bigger head this side rather than actually a bigger thread, because a lot of the tempered glass cases have quite small thread sizes. Anyway, so jobs I have left to do now are I need to polish and flame the side of the case, so the side of the window. Sorry, I'll give you a little extreme close-up on the side because it's not very, sort of like a frosted edge at the moment. And it should be, there we go, we got there in the end. So we've got quite a frosted edge there at the moment, and I'm going to flame polish that. And then really it's about getting the insides stuff done. I've obviously got to do the final fitment with the acrylic. You can come all the way out, Tom, come on, there we go. There we go. I can do the final fitment with the acrylic in the bottom. I actually need to drill some holes in at the bottom here, because where the Rivnut pokes through, it's actually fouling the acrylic on the other side, so I need to drill some holes for that, and I need to get some more nuts and bolts, because at the moment I'm using old, sort of like not even stainless M3 nuts for the back of these, but you can see the white on the back of this and the fact that it's all bolted in. I still do have pretty good access for the power supply area down here. And I do have plans for this, for the side of the power supply cover, and I'm going to refit this so it will make it look kind of standard. I'm hoping when it does kind of finish, it will look like, I don't know, H440 V3 or like the TTL edition or something daft. In case you're wondering what this is, basically this was holding this side up because I needed to get a this held right up when I was marking out the holes for this. What I'm going to do is get another bit of acrylic to mount in the front to this because it droops about 1 millimeter. So I do just need to get a little prop for this side just to hold this side up. But other than that, I'm actually quite happy with how it's all come out. So you can see the shower shed, it's a bit of a mess, but we're pretty much there now. We're almost ready to start firing actual bits of hardware in. So once the acrylic is done, and I'll get some hardware in, I'll come back and I'll make you another video so you can get your first look of the actual acrylic side and the full window. The only thing that I might end up doing is on the other side you're going to be able to see this edge, so I'm not sure yet if I'm going to get another acrylic bit made to sit in so I can sandwich it in when I bolt the window on, or whether I'll just do something simple with some white tape to cover it up. I don't know yet. I might even just leave it there. I have no idea. But anyway, that's my version of the H440. And this is, like I've said, it's eventually going to be the Racing Rig Revival case, and I'm really looking forward to getting cracking and getting on with that. But I would love to know your thoughts on what we've seen here so far. Just so that you are aware though, the only real tools that I've used so far have been a hand drill, my Dremel, which is over here in the corner. I've used the Dremel, and then the Rivnutter. Now this was, I think it was 15 or 20 pounds off of Amazon. But if it might be something that you might want to share with your friends or something, because I've only actually used it for 4 holes on this, but it's actually quite a nice tool to have in your toolbox for like car work or your motorbike or something like that. You might just be able to be lucky to borrow one off of one of your mates or something, because the Rivnuts aren't expensive. So the point, what I'm trying to show here is I'm not like a master modder or have a CNC or a laser cutter or anything like that. I'm doing things the basic way, and the acrylic I actually measured up and got made to size, and I found a company on eBay that just sent it to me. And so far the acrylic panels, including shipping, have cost me less than £25. So GBP, so less than 25 quid. So it's not even been particularly expensive. I think I've spent more, again, just like Orca, on nuts, bolts and washers, because these things are crazy expensive. I think that's like £1.19 just for that little thing there. So I've spent a lot of money on nuts and bolts and not a lot of money on acrylic. So this is what I'm doing here. Is very accessible at home. You don't need a massive amount of experience to be able to do it. If you take your time and think about everything, measure everything 3 times, you could do this as a project at home with very little or no modern experience. I don't like the word modding too much because I don't like to take away from the big modders, but this is a very entry level sort of thing that I think everyone is going to be able to do at home. Maybe you could do it with a couple of your mates, or you could get your dad involved or your granddad or something like that. But anyway, I'm not going to yabble on anymore. It's not finished. When it is finished, I hope you'll kind of get the vision that I had with it. And I'm hoping that you'll also like it as well. But anyway, we've not seen my face very much. It's not quite finished yet, but it's certainly getting there. And with that side panel off, you can kind of see where I'm going with it. I know we've lost the ability for a 360 in the front, but you've still got the option of one in the roof. And we've cleaned the lines up quite a bit. I'll show you where I'm planning on putting the NZXT thing. The actual NZXT writing is offset. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to line the writing up. So the writing is in the middle of the case, and then we're just going to live with this being slightly longer on one side, but I'm actually going to mount it like that, and I'm hoping that I'm still going to be able to get the window on, because I don't know yet. It's literally going to be so close. But yeah, we will see. Once it's flipping on there though, it's going to be a bit tough if it doesn't work. But anyway, it might not fit. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, it's not going to fit. So I might have to get a little bit jiggery pokery with the plastic on the side. I don't really want to though. But I genuinely, the idea is when we have it on the side, what I've done, hold that up, see if I can. Okay, so I took the NZXT backplate out of it, and it would have had a white kind of film across the back as well. So I've taken all of that off, and you've still got 2 LEDs on the back. So my idea was I was going to use the 2 screw mounts to mount it, but then it would have made it sat off of the side of the acrylic, because this part is actually inlaid in the metal part of the case. So then what you would have done is you would have seen the white NZXT, but because it was sat off, you would have also then got a partial light around the outside of the case. It would have had a kind of semi kind of backlight to it, and it also then makes it feel a little bit more standard. But because of the way that it's kind of sat, I'm not sure it's going to work. So I think what I need to do now is get some of these powered up and then have a look to see how it's going to go. If not, what I might do is I might just get that made out of vinyl but with it central, and we'll maybe stick NZXT down the side or something, because I do want it to have that kind of stock feel to it. Anyway, that is it. I'm done. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know what you think. Hardware on the inside, I'm still up in the air. I don't know where I'm going with it yet. One thing I can say is I am going to be using EK Varda fans for it, and we are going to be using, for the first time, one of the OC3D AIOs as well. So please, as I've said, let me know what you think. Click the link underneath. You can go and see the project log on the forums, because there's a lot more going on the forums as well. But for now, at least, with his first little bit of kind of hands-on that he's done in ages, this is Tiny Tom Logan with another video for you. Out. Ooga, ooga, ooga.